Hello, my beautiful friends. I am Laurel Bleadon-Maffei with Illuminating Souls, welcoming you to this episode of Sleepy Bedtime Blessings, a podcast designed to help you rest, relax, and fall asleep, all while deepening in your connection with your beautiful team of angels who love you so. If you've been listening for a while, you know that I am an angelic practitioner, a spiritual teacher, and an encourager of souls. And I offer one-on-one angel sessions, soul mentoring, and a variety of classes designed to inspire your spirit. And I invite you to visit me at my website, illuminatingsouls.com, where you can sign up for my mailing list and you will be in the know of all of my offerings and other inspirational morsels. And if you do go to my website, there are 2 different mailing lists you can sign up for. The one at the top of my homepage is just for my general mailing list. You'll hear from me a handful of times a month when I have openings for angel sessions, when I have a new class coming up, or when I make a video. And then further down on the page, you can register for my daily inspiration email blast, and you will receive an inspiring email from me every weekday. And in addition to all of those goodies, I also have my new oracle deck, the Earth Angels Oracle, which comes in 2 sizes, a tarot size card deck, and then a tiny deck. And the tiny deck is quite adorable, if I do say so myself. It has the exact same content, just different sized cards, and I will drop in the show notes where you can order that. And in addition to all of these things, I am also an Earth Girl, which means I am also a human being having a life here on planet Earth in every way possible. It's messy, it's unpredictable, it's emotional, it's life. And so I am an avid listener of sleep podcasts, which is how this podcast came to be. I've been listening to sleep podcasts for many years now, and I love the ritual of crawling into bed and selecting the episode I'm going to listen to, and I use a sleep timer so it turns off at some point in the night, and I use wired earbuds that fall out at some point as I flip around on the bed. And I love sleep podcasts. I love the timbre, the rhythm, the companionship of hearing a soft and soothing voice reading to me or telling me a story or keeping me company. And as I contemplated, I think this part of us that finds it easier to drift off when there are loving, soothing voices mumbling kind of in the background, for me anyways, is very much connected to my childhood, which was a sweet one. And as I would drift off to sleep, sometimes my father would sleep on the floor, or nap, perhaps is a better word, on the floor between my bed and my sister's bed, and we would tell stories until we fell asleep. And that's a very cozy memory that invokes a profound feeling of safety and well-being for me. And on the nights that he wasn't sleeping between our bed, or maybe as we got older, I would hear the television downstairs and my parents talking. And so there was this murmur that would happen. And then as an adult, I would always go to sleep with the television on until at some point I woke up enough to turn off the power. And now what's replaced that is the sleep podcast. So I do fall asleep still with the television on for my husband, But I don't enjoy watching television as I go to sleep anymore. I much prefer kind of the cocoon of a sleep podcast. I sleep with the covers over my head. I'm like a turtle. I pull the covers over my head. And I'm able to do this. I don't know that I've shared with you before. It's not terribly important, but I sleep with a CPAP machine, which I know is very common, so some of you may do the same. But what happens is it enables me to pull the covers over my head and still get oxygen. So one of the perks of a CPAP machine. And so I put in my earbuds and I put on my CPAP mask and I pull the blankets over my head and I'm in this cocoon that is so conducive to sleep. So when I say to you, or I invite you to cozy on up and snuggle on in, whatever your version of that is, I think it's so lovely that each one of us has our own unique sleep style. For me, I like the bed to be tidy. So the top sheet, which I know not all countries use top sheets like we do here in the US, but here in the US, it's common, and not everybody has it, I suppose, but it's common to have a bottom sheet that goes over the mattress, and then there is a top sheet, and then there are your blankets or your comforters that go over the top sheet. So I like the top sheet, and then we have a lightweight blanket. I like those to be tucked in at the foot of the bed. And then we have a big comforter. And right now, it's starting to get a little chilly at night, and both my husband and I like to sleep when the room is cold. So I've been able to put on a second blanket, which gives me the added weight. So I love that. And then I have lots of pillows, including a huge body pillow. I don't know how many of you sleep with a body pillow, but they are genius. I've been sleeping with a variation of that since I was a child. As a child, it would be a stuffed animal. And now that I'm an adult, it's a sleep pillow. And I buy the ones that I love from the company store in Wisconsin. They're fabulous. And I usually go to bed before my husband does. So the other night he got into bed before I did, and just it felt like the world tilted on its axis. I'm like, I don't know what to do now. So it's so funny how we get into our rhythms, of, I don't know, it just amused me. And I love the feeling of feeling the bed shift as my husband gets in there. It's like, it's cozy, it's safe, it's like an oasis, a sanctuary. So I love bed. Bed's awesome. And so I love that I get to make this podcast for you where we get to celebrate bedtime. Even if bedtime is not one of your favorite times, it's like I want to bring a sense of coziness and sweetness to bedtime to help you with that. And I'm sorry if there's some ambient noise. I am hearing like a motorcycle going by or something, and every time I stop the recording, it stops, and then I turn the recording back on and it comes back. So apologies for that. We'll make it into part of the story that eventually we will get to. So welcome to the Sleep Podcast. And I also bring in the angels, because that's my spin on life, is thank God we have angels. Literally, thank you, God, for the angels. Thank you. Because we could use some help down here on planet Earth. And so that's the other part of my self-care that I like to share with you. It feels like there is a drag race going on outside. Can you guys hear that? I don't know what is happening. Okay, hopefully it will not be disturbing you. It must be the weather. We live about a half a mile away from the freeway. And depending on the weather, sometimes we don't hear it at all, and sometimes we hear it. And I'm just wondering if this is one of those moments of hearing it. Okay, I'm just going to keep going with it because I don't have the energy to wait for it to pass. So, welcome to my world. So back to the angels. Beautiful, wonderful, sweet, loving angels. And we all have them. And I love sharing them with you because the world is crazy right now. We are living through a profoundly difficult, painful passage on the planet right now. And I really appreciate being able to come into sanctuary where we can replenish and restore. It's a blessing to come in and feel the love come in, to stream in, to help us replenish and refuel our light batteries. So with your permission, I'm going to invite the angels in to join us. They are here already, but I love sharing the ritual with you. So beautiful angels on high, I invite you to join us here. And I ask that you infuse this broadcast with waves of love, waves of compassion, waves of healing and light in service to our highest and best good. And please ripple this love to everyone who is hearing this message. Allow them to feel the light and the sweetness of your presence. And dear ones, just take a nice deep breath in and release. And with your permission, the angels are filling the room that you are in, the space you are in, with a soft pink light that is filled with love that has been calibrated just for you. The angels know what is transpiring in your life, in your heart, in your consciousness, and they meet you where you are. You don't have to shift to meet them where they are. They come to where you are. They make angelic house calls, if you will. And they are filled with such love for you, such sweetness for you. They are here to help you remember that you are precious in this world and that you matter, your life matters, that you are making a difference in ways you cannot even begin to imagine. And so just breathe and receive as the angels continue to stream this beautiful love to you, helping to balance your nervous system, helping to bring soothing, healing light to your physical body, your emotional body, and all that you are. As we are together, I ask for grace. Grace in all ways and in all things for you and all that you love. May grace flow through with light and ease. May we feel connected with the light of the universe. May we feel loved and supported. May we feel connected with waves of inspiration and goodness. And dear ones, just take a nice deep breath in. And if you have any prayers or intentions you wish to place into this circle, I invite you to do so now, knowing that the angels will amplify your prayers, your intentions. And as you breathe, allowing the soft, soothing, comforting energies of the angels to be with you now. There's so much love here for you now. So thank you for making time to receive this broadcast of love into your heart. I am so deeply grateful for the gift of you. And so I invite you to get comfortable in whatever way works best for you and allow the angels to continue to shine love upon you. And make space for rest. And while you rest, my beautiful friend, I'm going to tell you a story, or stories, or rambles. I'm just going to sit here and talk with you for the rest of the hour. I have no idea where we're going to go, but it's part of the mystery of this podcast. We'll discover that together. So sometimes I come to Storytime and I know exactly what we're going to talk about, or I have a publication I'm going to read to you. But I will be honest that with all that is transpiring right now, I'm not feeling connected in that way. It's a bit of a challenge to come and record these episodes. Once I start doing it, once I'm in front of the microphone, it flows. But my creative energy is not as accessible as it has been in the past. I'm sure it's all going to come flowing back at some point, but what I crave most is just conversation. I think the intensity of life right now, it is easy to feel isolated. And I miss just sitting down and talking, over lunch or something and sharing our experiences and our insights and our stories. And I miss that, yet I also don't want to be around people. It's a weird conundrum of I miss people, but I don't want to be around people. Like I miss a certain amount of intimacy, and yet at the same time that intimacy feels hard. Like it's been so hard to pick up the phone and call anybody right now. I'm so grateful I do the work that I do because I can easily do that. I call in the angels. I call in source. And I shift consciousness. And I can absolutely show up for that. Just yesterday, I did 4 sessions and taught a class. And it was, for me at least, it felt very graceful and authentic. And I have a few sessions today, which I'm really looking forward to. But when I'm on Laurel time, Earth Girl time, I'm a bit lost right now. And it's okay. It's appropriate to feel a bit lost right now. So I don't feel like it's something I have to fix or shift out of. It's appropriate because of everything. So I thought what I could share with you for story time, with the agreement that we keep the bar really, really low about this being any kind of engaging content, I thought I might just ramble a bit like I've been doing, and I'm just going to be a friend, just kind of sharing with you for a while. So if you're okay with that, I am too. So the part of the conversation I thought we might drop into is this concept of making space to self-regulate. It's sort of a self-help term, a therapeutic term of regulating our nervous system, regulating our emotional system. What do we need to do to stay balanced or centered? It's not a term I've used a lot. I must have heard it somewhere. It just dropped in. I don't mean like I channeled it. I mean, there must have been some conversation on a TikTok or Instagram post in the last few months, because it's something I've been referencing a lot within myself. That is, the world is so crazy right now, and I am feeling it so deeply. I am really having to make, did you hear that breath? Whew, I'm really having to make space to self-regulate, meaning to not allow myself to spin out, to not allow myself to get too depleted, to not allow myself to become too imbalanced. And usually my regular everyday life allows me to self-regulate. I mean, I have, hills and valleys like everybody else does, but it doesn't feel like there's a constant barrage of stressors coming at me. And you would think, since I'm a spiritual teacher, my self-regulation toolbox would include things like meditation and long walks in nature, and just so you know, it doesn't include any of that. I mean, listen, first of all, I don't meditate. I don't know if that makes you think less of me, but I am not one for sitting in the stillness. I'm not a fan. And I have meditated in the past and found it valuable, but these days, not so much. Really, a lot of my spiritual practice is in the work that I do, because I call in the angels, and I'm in this beautiful heightened energy field, and this wisdom and love and compassion comes flowing through me, and I participate in it, and that serves me. So right now, my forms of self-regulating include a lot of rest, seeing, maybe that's not necessarily the right word. Maybe a better word is observing the opportunities to pivot towards the light during my day. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit of what this weekend looked like for me. Again, I don't expect you to be riveted by this, okay? I'm just sharing because I really wanted to produce a new episode for you today rather than doing a replay. And this is what I got. That if I have to fill, let's see, as I record this, we're about 23 minutes into the broadcast, which means I've got about another 37 minutes to fill. So there's going to be a lot of rambling here, so feel free to fall asleep. I will not be offended. It's about, about the last few days, the weekend. So as I record this, it's Tuesday morning. It's early. It's still dark out. So what have the last few days looked like? Well, there goes another loud traffic noise. I'm so sorry about that, you guys. Ambient noise. So, let's see. There is a new Asian supermarket that opened up in my town, Vallejo, that we are all very excited about. Well, I don't know all. Many of us are very excited about. It is called 168 Market, and the parent company is the company that owns the 99 ranch markets. And for those of you who are not in the area, 99 Ranch is a really fantastic Asian supermarket. So they have all kinds of Asian groceries. They have a hot bar. They have a dim sum bar. It's wonderful. And the only two 99 ranches in my area are across the bridge. Now, living in the Bay Area, something you should know if you've never been here, is where we live in Vallejo. We have to cross a bridge to get to, I was going to say the other side. Like, why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the other side. Why do I go across a bridge? To get to the other side. Apparently, I'm a little punchy. But to get, for instance, to Berkeley, I have to go across the bridge, which is not a big deal, except they charge a $7 toll, soon to be $8, to go across the bridge. Now, I am blessed. I can absorb that $7 into my budget, but I think twice about it. So the only two 99 ranches within my vicinity both exist over the bridge, which means already tack on $7 to whatever I'm going to do in whatever adventure I'm going on the other side of the bridge. So some things to know about the town that I live in, Vallejo, is we're going through a rough patch, and Vallejo's been going through a rough patch for a long time now. Vallejo used to be a naval town. Mare Island was a naval base. And when they shut it down, I think in the 90s, I don't know my Vallejo history, the town really took a nosedive. And there's a lot of wonderful things about my town, but it also has a lot of hardship. It is a profoundly economically stressed city, which means we've got a lot of crime. The police department is having its challenges. So there's a lot of icky stuff going on in my town, which I'm not going to talk about because it's a sleep podcast. So that this new supermarket opened up in Vallejo, and they did a beautiful job on this store. And it is the only subsidiary of 99 Ranch on this side of the bridge. So we're going to get a lot of people coming to this store. And they had a soft opening on Thursday and then their grand opening on Saturday. So as part of my regulation, right, pivoting towards the light as best I could, on Thursday, I was so excited that I went to their soft opening. And I love grocery stores. So I wandered up and down the aisles, and not growing up with Asian food, but having lived in California for a long time, and now Asian food is much more mainstream. I loved going up and down the aisles and seeing all the different kinds of noodles and spices and snacks and pickled things and tofu and dumplings, and oh, it was wonderful. And I happen to love dim sum, and so they have a dim sum bar. And so I got a little bit of dim sum for lunch, and I was delighted. And the people in the store were delighted too. So I got to have a little vacation time from the rest of the world as I wandered through this very happy experience that was not only happy for me, but happy for everybody else who was in it. We were all kind of wandering around the store with our eyes wide open and smiling, and it was so lovely. I went back on Sunday again. I was like, I have to go back. And it was even more crowded because it was the weekend and they had opened officially, and the store was mobbed. And yet everybody was queued up in their appropriate line. I just felt an air of happiness coming from everyone because this was so exciting. This beautiful grocery store now existed and invested in our community and was going to be available to us. And honestly, it felt like a vibrational bath to be amidst the happiness and the newness and the promise of this store. So it might sound so weird that I got so vibrationally uplifted by being in a grocery store, but this grocery store symbolizes a lot for our community. And I just loved being there with everybody else and watching what people were putting in their carts and loving the produce section. They have my favorite Kyoho grapes, which are phenomenal grapes if you've ever had them. And they have pomelos, which are phenomenal, which it's a little too early for me in pomelo season, but I will be having a date with a pomelo soon. And if you don't know what a pomelo is, it's like a giant grapefruit, but sweeter. They're wonderful. And so I didn't necessarily do a lot of shopping while I was there. I was really there for the ambiance, for the joy factor, and sort of pointing out all the things to myself that I would buy at some point. So that was one thing that I did to sort of help self-regulate, get away from the news, Laurel, just unplug for half an hour. It'll all be there when you get back, and go wander through this brand new, beautiful, sparkling Asian supermarket that we now have in our community, and I no longer have to go over the bridge to shop at their sister store. And everything was clean and beautiful, and the shelves were well stocked. You know, I don't know how it is for you in your supermarkets these days, but a lot of the supermarkets here, the shelves aren't well stocked. So since this was their opening, the shelves were full. There was a huge selection of everything, and very, very happy experience. Then the other thing we did over the weekend was Wes and I went down to San Jose to visit my cousins. Now, my cousin Kathy, who I absolutely adore and listens to this podcast, she actually was traveling, so she was not there with her parents, but we went down to visit her parents. And before we went to visit them, there's a coin store, a coin and stamp store in Sunnyvale, which is such a charming little store. It's kind of an old school store where there are stacks of everything. So there's stacks and stacks of stamp stuff and stacks of coin stuff. And so it's kind of like a treasure hunt when you go there, because you never know what you're going to find. And there's this long wooden box that has all kinds of foreign coins, and they're 10 cents a piece. So, you know, the inner child in me starts going through the coins to see what kind of treasures I'm going to find. And it's not that I expect to find a really valuable silver coin in there, but I just think coins are cool now. I never thought this would be me, just so you know. Not on my bingo card for 2023 that I would ever utter the sentence that I think coins are cool now. But I do, which amuses me to no end. So I went through the wooden box, and Wes looked for his coins. And then the gentleman who owns the store, his name is Rudy, and you can let Rudy know what you're looking for. So if you want to look for certain coins from certain countries, he'll figure out what box they're in, and he'll take this long box out from his inventory and put it on the counter, and you can flip through. So the first box we wanted to look through, and again, just as an aside, a reminder, I do not expect you to be riveted by what I'm sharing with you. This is a sleep podcast, so I'm just filling time. So I'm sharing with you about the boxes we flipped through at the coin store. Feel free to go to sleep at any point. I'm sorry, I'm really punchy apparently, but it's okay, because we're friends. It's okay. That it's okay is for me, just so you know. I'm like, it's okay, Laurel. It's all right. It'll all be fine. Just keep going. Talk about the coins. Okay, so there is a really beautiful coin from Hungary, right before the war of World War II. And on the front of the coin is the head of whoever their ruler was. I don't even know. I don't pay attention to that part, because on the back of the coin are two angels. Of course there are, right? Because I have an affinity for finding the coins that have angels on them. So we already have a couple examples of that coin, but we flipped through the Hungary box, the H box, which also had other countries like Haiti, and I should be able to tell you Honduras, other countries with H's. And I don't think we found any examples of that coin in the box, which was fine. And then the other box we asked to bring down was the box that might have coins from Israel in them, because I'm feeling deeply about everything in the Middle East. And Wes and I found all of these different coins from Israel that we thought were so cool. You know, they have Hebrew on them, and of course they do. I don't know, just delighted me. And so those were some of our treasures. We found some coins from Israel. We almost bought a beautiful coin from Isle of Man, but we didn't get that. But it's so cool because you go through these really long boxes. You don't even need to know what you're looking for, but you're basically looking for a coin that attracts your attention. And most of the coins in the boxes are $1 or $2. These are not the valuable silver coins that you're going to spend a lot of money on. So, you can spend $20 and get, a little treasure of coins that you find interesting. So we found our coins, and then we went to visit our cousins and had a lovely, lovely time. They are some of my favorite people in the world. And they have a dog named Hooper, who I love, and I don't have a dog right now, so I got some dog love, which I really needed. And we had a lovely meal together, and it really helped regulate, right? We were talking about, how do I regulate my system right now? So we got some cool coins, and then I had family time, and I even got a dog kiss and a good meal, and that really helped to calm me down. So that was Saturday, and then on Sunday, again, please know I don't expect you to care, but I'm just, again, filling time, keeping you somewhat amused and entertained as I share with you the benign moments of my life. So Sunday morning, well, let's just go down the whole list, right? Why would I hold back anything from you? Because I don't care how boring it is. I got up, I went early to Costco so that I could fill my car with gas. Had to do that. Did some grocery shopping, had some more groceries to get, including adding more to our Halloween candy stash because Wes already broke into it. I understand. God bless him. So I bought more because you can always get more Halloween candy, right? And by the time you listen to this, Halloween will be over. But as I record this, Halloween is today. So we've got plenty of candy. Even though, as an aside, I have turned into the grouchy old woman who is aggravated by trick-or-treaters. I don't want them ringing my doorbell. I don't want to have to open my doorbell and give them candy. But I will, because I don't want to be the mean old lady in the yellow house. So we have plenty of candy. Don't worry. So I did my grocery shopping, did some laundry. Then we did some meal prep. Now don't get impressed by this. I cook like 3 things each week. The same things every week. I'm not going to tell you what they are because it's embarrassing. Well, not embarrassing, but I don't know. Not interested in sharing. If you really need to know, send me an email and I will tell you. If you're that invested in what I meal prep, reach out. Then I'll know I have a listener and I will text you back, or not text you, because don't text me on my phone. I will email you back what I meal prep. You'll be very unimpressed. The term meal prep profoundly elevates the work that I do because I don't like to cook. So we got our food prepared for the week. So then that would be off my plate. And Wes's plate too. It's not as if he expects me to cook for him, but I like to nurture the guy every once in a while. And wow, this is going to be just a weird episode. Okay, keep going, Laurel. It's fine. So by the time we got all of that done, around 1 o'clock, this is where it comes to self-regulation time. So the whole earlier part of the day, I had to show up and get my Earth Girl stuff done so that I would have an easier week. Now comes self-regulation time. I changed back into my pajamas, 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday. I went into my half of our power recliner 2-seater love seat with the cup holders that you will hear more about in the archive episode, All My Sofas. I pulled one of my crocheted blankets over me. I put my feet up And I was done with the world. I'm done. I'm done with the world. I think Wes was watching, I don't know, what he watches Last Man Standing, which is a funny show. Sometimes I put on Perry Mason's for him or an old movie. And I say I put them on for him because this man is a MacGyver and brilliant in so many ways. I mean, seriously, the apocalypse comes. You want to be on Team Maffei because he's going to know how to help us. But he does not know how to figure out all of the different remotes that we need to play certain television shows. Which is good because it means he still needs me. So I put his show on whatever he wants to watch. And I put in an audiobook that I'm listening to right now, which, if you care, I think I'd already shared with you about how I listened to the book Marmee, which was a retelling of the story of Little Women from Marmee's perspective, and I loved it so much. And I found out that the same author wrote a book called Caroline about Caroline Ingalls from Little House on the Prairie. So from the mom's perspective, Little House on the Prairie. It's not nearly as good as Marmee, but, you know, it helps me pass the time. And so I have it checked out from the library, the audiobook. And so I just put in my earbuds and listened to it and fell asleep. And I slept most of the afternoon. Like my body really needed it. And so I slept. I was exhausted. And this is part of regulating my nervous system right now because I have to show up for life. And that's probably true for you as well. So how do we take care of ourselves right now? Because we're feeling so much. And it's appropriate that we're feeling so much. I'm not trying to talk about opting out or not noticing or feeling or being affected by. I just mean, and the reality is then there's a life for me to show up for. And how do I amp up my self-care so I can show up for the parts of life that require me right now? And so for me, I went to the Asian market, delighted. I went to visit my cousins. I bought some fun coins. I got all of my weekly, weekend stuff done early so that I could then just get back into my pajamas and opt out of life for the afternoon and sleep and listen to an audiobook and hang out with my husband and try and re-regulate my system. See, the thing about our systems is of course each one of us has a unique instrument. See, I know for myself, I get overloaded. And I've shared this with you in a recent podcast. For example, there is a very common genetic mutation that 25% of the population has, where the enzyme that burns off dopamine in the prefrontal cortex does not work as efficiently as it should. So during times of stress, there can be a dopamine overload, which leads to anxiety, overwhelm, panic, that unsettled feeling. And I happen to have that mutation. Super common. Nothing you really need to do about it, but during times of stress like this, I can feel that my body's off kilter. So I have to find a way to re-regulate my system. So these were some of the things that I did. I also have been continuing to watch and participate in many hours of shopping for crystals on TikTok, which just go back to an old episode. And again, there is something so comforting about it that, when, not only for me, but for everybody who participates in it, you enter the live stream and the host can see you coming in the room, not physically see you. Your camera is not on. I just mean they see the name show up. So it'll say Laurel has joined. Pisces 367 has joined. Gem Mama has joined, right? So they see your name, your TikTok name show up. And right now my TikTok name is simply Laurel. And so the host goes, Laurel's here. Hi, Laurel, honey. How are you? They do this for everyone, but it delights me. I'm like, hi. Like I matter. Like someone in China knows that I exist. Hi, I'm here. It's the little things right now that delight me. And I will share, God bless these ladies in China. And there are a few men, so I don't want to make it sound like they're all women, but most of the channels that I shop with have women who are their hosts. And to be a host on a channel like this, you have to be very personable, right? Because you're talking the whole time. And their English is fantastic. I don't speak any other languages at all. So anyone who speaks more than one language to me is a hero. So that anybody speaks more than one language, wherever they are in the world, I'm impressed. So that these women in China speak such great English, I'm so amazed and impressed by that. So they greet me, hi Laurel, honey, you're here. So it just makes me happy. And, people add things to their carts. You claim whatever you want. Although I will say, I don't know, this, in some ways, this helped me regulate in a weird way. But I was on one live stream. It wasn't a live stream I was on very often, so I didn't really know the host. I don't mean know like we know each other, like I know their kids' names or anything. I just mean that was familiar to me. And there was this guy. His name was Michel, so Michael, but French, right? Michel. And he's buying a ton of stuff. So there's all these different kinds of tumbles. So a tumble would just be like the little rocks you might buy. Tumbles of agate, a tumble of rose quartz, a tumble of tiger's eye. And each kilo of the tumble was between $30 and $40. And he's just buying kilo after kilo of different kinds of tumbles. And the host is doing a phenomenal job of keeping up with his order. And then he wanted a bunch of little carvings. So a little carving of a bunny, of a cat, of whatever that might be. And so she's showing him all the different carvings so he can pick from them. And I'm just enjoying vicariously watching all of the things that he's buying because it's giving me a tour of the store. And I even had posted in the comments that I was enjoying vicariously watching him shop. So this was in the morning. I forget what day it was. And she wound up totaling up the baskets for him. And at some point it came to $800, but then it dropped down to $657 or something like that. And it was time for him to go and pay. And so at that point, I just left the channel. I thought, well, that was fun. I enjoyed that. A few hours later, I came back to that channel because I can scroll through the lives of the channels that I follow. And the host was talking to someone else on the channel, and she was in tears. And I said, what's wrong? And she said, I had a customer this morning who placed a really big order, and then he disappeared without paying. And the other person, in the comments was asking her about it. She said it was like an $800 order. And I thought, oh my God, that guy, what a putz. And so I chimed into the comments. I said, I was in the room. I was watching that. You mean he didn't pay? And she said, no, he disappeared. She said, I've been wondering if I did something wrong, like if I was talking too much or I wasn't helpful. And I said, no, honey. He said, you were wonderful. I was there the whole time. You were fantastic. I'm so sorry he did that. And she was just saying how she's working so hard at this job and she wants to make money so she can get a house. And I just felt for her, and I wished I could find this guy and yell at him. And she said, and I haven't really had sales today. And I said, well, let's go shopping. I'll buy something. Listen, I'm not going to buy a lot of stuff, but I'll spend like $20. I'll spend $20 with you. Let's do some shopping. She said, really? I said, yeah, for sure. And I bought a few things. I bought some tumbles because, she'd shown off all these beautiful tumbles, and I bought a little angel. I bought some stuff from her. And she was just very grateful. She says, thank you so much. You didn't need to do that. And I said, listen, I want you to know there are good people in the world and that people appreciate what you do. You're really good at showing the inventory. You clearly love what you do and you have a lot of information, and I'm sorry that this person did that to you. And so I made a purchase from her. And I'm not telling you this story so that I sound super awesome. That's not why I'm sharing it with you. Rather, I'm sharing it because I think that we all have these opportunities throughout our day to maybe lift somebody's burden a little bit. Did the purchase that I make really make a difference in her, her financial life? Absolutely not. I don't think that at all. But maybe I just helped lift her spirits a little bit by letting her know that someone on the other side of the world witnessed what happened to her and cared, and that it mattered, and that I had compassion, empathy for what she was going through. And I don't know, that in a weird way that made me feel, I don't know, I guess it's not weird, but a sense of love, a sense of connectedness, that I could somehow show up and support somebody else. Like there's this, that beautiful metaphor of the butterfly's wings, right? Like we can't perhaps change all the big, awful stuff that's happening in the world, but could I acknowledge this lovely woman who's working in a crystal factory in China when she's had a really bad day? Could I just let her know how much I appreciate her? And that I thought she was doing a really good job, and I don't know why this happened to her. But I will now go back to her store and I will greet her and I will encourage her because I care. I just think that's so interesting and so beautiful. Like there's different hosts now who I enjoy saying hello to. And it makes the world a little bit smaller in the best of ways. And so these are some of the things I'm doing to regulate myself. I'm trying to eat well, even though I don't want to. I really want to eat crappy food right now, but I'm trying to eat well. I'm getting lots of sleep. I don't necessarily have the attention span to even watch a whole television show, which is very unusual for me. I love TV. I can't do it right now. I just don't have the energy. I'm better off putting in an audiobook. So do your best to regulate your energy body, your emotional body right now. It's like do what you can to interrupt the circuit of overwhelm. So for me, it's going grocery shopping. It's a very benign thing that I do all the time, but it's easy for me. For somebody else, they might hate grocery shopping. But grocery shopping activates a different part of my consciousness. And it's easy for me to disrupt my sense of overwhelm if I can engage in something else. So I'm not great at problem solving right now. I'm not great at dreaming what I'm going to be doing in April right now. Regular everyday life at the moment, a lot of it is overwhelming me. And I'm so glad I do the work that I do, because that is absolutely one thing in my life that never overwhelms me. It is my medicine. It is my joy. It is my delight to show up for it. Even recording this episode for you. I love that I have the kind of podcast where I do not have to be brilliant. I don't have to say anything profoundly meaningful. I don't have to prepare. I don't have to research. I can just come here and tell you about the new grocery store in our neighborhood and how I got to go down to San Jose and visit my cousins and buy some coins, and how I took a really long nap in my pajamas on a Sunday afternoon. I mean, I never change into my pajamas during the day. So that may not even sound important to you that I was in my pajamas at 1 o'clock, but I get dressed every day. I'm not saying that as if that's virtuous, and you should too. I just mean my pattern is I get dressed every day. And I don't kind of get into my lounge wear, pajama wear, until my day's over. So that at 1 o'clock on the afternoon on a Sunday, I said, I am DONE, done with the world. Pajamas, here we come. Blanket me up, lift my feet up off the ground in the power recliner, put in my earbuds to listen to the Caroline audiobook, and I was gone. So make sure you are taking good care of yourself right now. Lower the bar on the expectations of what you have to show up for right now. If you're not productive, it's understandable. If you're not sure what comes next, it's understandable. You take good care of yourself, because you are a precious instrument of light in this world. And we are experiencing so much known and unknown. So with everything going on right now, I'm feeling it. It's not a bad thing. Listen, there are awful, awful things happening in the world, and as a citizen of this planet, I feel guided to participate in some way, to be of support in whatever way I can. And I don't even know what that means right now, but I'm just saying I'm not one of those people who says I'm not going to watch the news. I watch the news, but that's me. I'm not saying you need to. It's just me. So that my system is so off right now is deeply understood. Like, I get it. And this is why I do my best to regulate. And I also acknowledge that I have the privilege of that. Right? Even though these awful things are happening in the world, I have running water, I have access to food, I have a roof over my head. I know where my next meal is coming from. I have access to health care. Like, I've got it going on here. I am blessed, and I don't know why I have this and other people don't. And so I do my best to regulate so that I can show up for life. Because I have that blessing. I'm grateful I have the ability to show up for life. I'm grateful that I can share some kindness in the world. I'm grateful that I have you. That here we are in this moment of connection and love and reflection on our humanity. So, thank you for letting me ramble to you all this time. I am not going to apologize. I was going to apologize, and I thought, no, I don't need to do that. You love me, right? I love you. It's all good, right? So, my beloved friend, I really hope you're asleep by now. unless you're driving a car, in which case I hope you're wide awake. Like whatever your awareness phase should be right now, I hope you're right in it. And we'll talk again soon. I love you so much. I'm so deeply grateful for you. So thank you and sweet dreams.